Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy, AntMoe, Anthony Moore, for those of you who may not know for sure. And welcome to the networking, folks. But more importantly, welcome to the Late Night Shift Live with your boy, your host, your humble servant, Anthony Moore, once again. And so, man, here at the Late Night Shift Live, I want to keep it very simple. Hype is overrated. So instead of being the latest hype, we want to keep it real. And that is three things: real relevant, real player, and real live. You feel me? And so if you tapped into this, come on down, have a seat, get your drink, get you some food, whatever you need to do, and enjoy the show. We talking pretty privilege tonight. Pretty privilege. Do you suffer from pretty privilege? Have you benefited from pretty privilege? And at the end of the day, are we allowed to do certain things because of that pretty privilege? Not we. I mean, even though I think I'm a strapping young man myself. But are there people that benefit from pretty privilege that might even be wallowing in their own misery? And so with that being said, we have quite a few things to get into. And so I'm going to be playing some videos. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into the weeds about it. And hopefully I run into no issues with none of the audio, none of the video. And we're going to keep it player just like that. So, first up on the docket, we got to talk about Miss Ayesha Curry. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, Ayesha Curry is the wife of Steph Curry. And she's not been one that has been ignorant or transverse to some of the negative things that have been going on over the years, about the comments that she has made, about some of the statements that she has put out into the airwaves. And we have a lot of mixed opinions, a lot of mixed emotions about what has actually been going on. So I hear a comment, and we got Ms. Reese in the proper place where you deserve to be. Right there. Ms. Reese, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to hear from you as well. Bruce, glad you get your butt on in here. You can't don't start letting Ms. Reese outdo you, dog. Cause once she start outdoing you, you ain't gonna be able to tell her nothing. You know what I'm saying? She be done tore her drawers with you, Ken folk. But anyway, let's get to Ayesha Curry. So over the years, she's made a couple of statements that have gave her a black eye, so to speak, for less of a better word. And I am here to argue that I'm not so sure that it is not justified when you start thinking about what respect is, what love is, what understanding is for somebody that you're attached to, having a platform, having a name. Even if we start looking at what we believe in, we have to be very mindful and careful of the things that are being said over these here airways, because in today's society, you can't get it back. Okay, this ain't the days of the paper, the newspaper, where when people would put in things that were not true, where you lied on somebody, where you slandered somebody's name, they could do a retraction. In today's social media, even as soon as somebody sees you go live, they are hitting screen record. So even if you do a 10-minute video, minute video, put a tweet out there or X out there, somebody is going to find a way to make that live in infamy forever. And so Ayesha Curry, although I don't think she truly means, well, I can't say that I don't think that she truly means any harm, but I would hope that she doesn't mean any harm. But it gives off certain things that we got to talk about tonight. So with that being said, let's look at the first comment, shall we?
More understanding.
Something that really bothers me and like honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero, this sounds weird, but like male attention. And so then like I begin to internalize it and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
You're
Like,
not looking.
what,
You're not
like,
looking. You're not even.
But I'm gonna tell you something else too. When your radar's turned off,
Because I dealt with that for years too. Like, and I was young, like you.
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh my
not
God.
fair.
I
Because I don't want it, but it would be nice to know that, like, someone's looking.
But
That
when
could
your
get
radar's
dangerous.
turned off, right?
That
You're
could get real
beautiful. Don't ever
dangerous.
think for 1 minute that it ain't no some men out there looking at you like I wish.
Honestly.
And I'm gonna tell you.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? Now listen, I'm not going to be one to act like the human experience doesn't matter, right? And that we can experience and express a lot of feelings, thoughts, and emotions that might be for the moment. But she made a statement about it being over the greater 10 years. Now, as we get into the next comments a little bit later on, you'll start to kind of see why they say success leaves clues, failure leaves clues, and there are certain signs, right? And I'm not here to bash her. I'm not here to, I don't got an issue with women. I'm okay with privilege of all sorts. I think they have their places, right? You'll hear a lot of people that are believers say favor ain't fair, right? So if you're a pretty woman and you get to, maneuver in and out of certain situations and spaces at times, I'm not here to bash you about that. But we got to be honest and real and have a perspective where I don't think women are trash. I don't think men are angels. This isn't that type of platform, but we got to be real about some of the things that we say and do that put ourselves in positions to be treated and talked about a certain way. So let's review this clip, right? So Jada Pinkett Smith, we've already seen a long list of things that have happened with her that we don't have to get into right now. But clearly there's a lot going on in her dynamic that has been going on for quite a long time. Now, does that mean she's not capable or qualified of giving encouragement or talking somebody through situations? She's absolutely capable and qualified because she's been through that. Oftentimes people say, if you haven't been through something, you can't really coach me through whatever I'm going through, even with the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that you may have about whatever I may be going through. So let's see what Ms. Reese says. Ms. Reese says, yeah, hold on, let me move this down. Let me get a good spot for this. Yeah, that's crazy. No one intervened and said, girl, that shouldn't even be a thought because your husband is the only one that matters. Yes, and there's a lot of implications to what Mrs. Aisha Curry actually said, right? And it gives off, number one, it gives off the implication that her husband is not giving her that type of attention to make her feel wanted or desirable. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have 1,000 million kids that makes you any more desirable to a man. That could just be something that you do. It could be like any muscle that you exercise or flex, right? But I just think you should be very careful, no matter how good or bad your relationship is, going on platforms like that, going to what the Red Table Talk was at that time, and everything that Jada Pinkett Smith seemed to embody and represent within the culture. Remember, even J. Cole, who said, I want that real love, dark-skinned Aunt Viv love, that Jada and that Will love. He stopped saying that part. Because once you start hearing about the whatever cuckling and the entanglements and it seems like it's so much to that. If that's what love is, many people don't want that. Keep that type of love. Because that type of love, if we're being honest and if we are really assessing this for what it is actually quite toxic. So you go on that platform and it's girl talk, right? It's a lot of things that men probably say in the comforts of their own circles that they probably would never say around their family or around their wives or around their children. But this ain't what that is. And mind you, just because they may or we may say certain things that some stuff is guys talk. Now, I think there's levels to guy talk, and I think that we should be very mindful of the things that we let come out of our mouths when we talk about the opposite sex or things of that nature. But you went on national television and talked about how desirable you still wonder that you are to other men. So let's just state the obvious. You are married. So if this is a conversation that you and your husband have had, I mean, go off if that's how y'all operate. But I don't think you should ever make that statement in public, right? No matter how good or bad your relationship may be. So number one, you're married. Number two, that is something that, or number one, that is something that implies that your husband isn't doing his job. Number two, you are married. So don't ever forget that. Number three, like LaShonda said, even, why didn't somebody, I don't like that they took that as a moment to step in and almost encourage the thought. Oh, girl, you just don't know. And then at the end, oh, there are plenty of men why do we care about what plenty of men wish? I don't care about what plenty of women wish that they had the opportunity to do, because here's the reality. It's the saying that they say a long time ago. For every handsome man or for every pretty woman that somebody is drooling over, there's a man or woman that is sick and tired of their stuff. And that's the reality. So for Aisha Curry to go make a statement like that on Red Table Talk, I just think it is done in very poor taste. What do you think? Holler at me in the comments and let me know if there was anything else that you also caught from that, right? It seems okay. So let me tell you about a situation that happened, right? And this was a real conversation that I had with a girl that I was cool with her. You know, I wouldn't enter or anything just for the comments to start saying whatever they gonna say from certain people who know who they are that shall remain nameless. But I remember it was this girl that I work with, and I think we were talking about goals or something, and I said something like, I think I want to be rated world sexiest man or something like that, right? And she asked me why, and I said, oh, I don't know, I just think it'd be kind of cool. And she was like, that is so worldly. That is just so why? That is just so selfish and worldly. And I was like, okay, all right. Like, it made me actually think internally, like, about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, was I tripping? Like, and mind you, it's nothing that I'm taking serious. I'm not getting up every morning doing push-ups and putting milk on my face trying to see how sexy I can get. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some stuff you're just born that way. So anyway, so yeah, so when I think about this, what's frame of mind is this? Because I don't think this is even healthy, if I'm being honest, for her to make certain statements like this. I just, what makes it so important to know that other men want you when you've made a decision to be committed to this man for the rest of your life, if that's what y'all so choose to do? We understand the divorce rates in America. We understand. I even remember, not putting no smut on their name, not saying that this is actually the truth. I did hear rumblings at some point that they were saying that this couple had an open relationship to a certain extent. Now, do I say that I believe this? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we have to be very careful when we start putting all of these things together to start making the statements and comments that we actually do make. All right, moving on. I had to correct some children really quickly. So there's another clip. Now think about what I just said. Think about the statement that was just made, okay? If you've decided and made your mind up that you're going to be with somebody for the rest of your life, and it's the person that you chose and you want to be with, and you're happy with this person, by and large, in general, right? We understand that there are ebbs and flows in any relationship, right? What is the thought process centered around making a statement like that? Let's look at the next clip. So I find that quite interesting. I'll be honest. I find it incredibly interesting. So I find it quite interesting that that actually happened, that was actually said, right? And I had greater detail. Matter of fact, let me give me 2.5 seconds and let me look through my my saved info here to see if I can't find it. And if not, we will move on quite quickly because I don't want to waste time looking through these comments because I do understand what she said by and large and want to deal with it pretty quickly because some stuff just shouldn't be said, right? So within the conversation, I do remember what was said. She said something along the lines of she was never attracted to him. He was just a friend, right? And she said that he wanted to be a basketball coach. And so she didn't envision any of the things that they have going on at this current moment or the in time. So it's the whole idea of like, oh, all the women are after him, am I it's almost if we look at the last clip, the question is, are you making these statements based off of a level of jealousy that you may have that your husband has hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of women that may be fawning after him, lusting after him, whatever the statement may be? Because why does it matter that all of these women, which they're groupies, they're people who are in love with what he does. If they just seen him walking down the street and he was a worked at Sack and Save, or if he was a basketball coach, only 1% of those women would probably still feel the way that they feel about him. But with the spotlight and with attention, becomes popularity, becomes this is something that people now want and desire. And so I think it was just very nearsighted of her to make a statement like that. So look, we got another statement. We got another comment. That stuff should be kept to yourself at that point. Because what's your motive behind that? Exactly. And here's the other thing. What happens? What happens when your DMs are getting blown up now? Do you feel justified? Does that make you feel like a pretty little girl when people go in your DM and say, "Oh, I've been waiting for the opportunity"? You actually open up the door. You open up Pandora's box for issues that your marriage doesn't need. So, what's the point of telling the world that you weren't it's just, once again, it just seems a little odd, a little weird that you feel the need to say the things that you think that most people may even think sometimes, but know it's better off left not being said. Who cares if you weren't attracted to him in high school? If you just saw him as a friend or if he wanted to be a basketball coach? Furthering the point of why I believe that it might be even a little bit more to it, maybe spousal envy, a little bit of jealousy. She said, I thought that I would be the one that would be going out there and making it happen. Making what happen? Were you going to be a WNBA all-star? Like you're expecting to be some big-time basketball player or businesswoman, which there's nothing wrong with at the end of the day. Please hear me out. Let me be clear. Let me be respectful. I don't think there's anything wrong with you having a desire to do things with your life. Most of the times in relationships, I really do encourage people to actually get to know somebody without sex being involved and kids being introduced, because it drastically changes the way you think, the way your future can be shaped, and how you actually execute on the things that your purpose may be, or just the life that you care to enjoy. So in this instance, if they had a discussion and all things considered equal, he didn't want to do that, and she did have desires to do other things. When you do start introducing kids and all those things, some things do change. With him playing 80 something games a season or however many games there are, including going to the playoffs and playing in the finals and whatever else that there's actual preparation for the season. That does put a bit of a infliction or conflicting, it could be conflicting with outside things that you desire to do. Now, if Steph Curry is, I don't know enough about Steph Curry to say, I don't think he's a bad guy, I'll say that. But most men who really care and love for the women that they are with do everything that they can in their power to make sure that those women are cared for and get fed into to do things out, whether it's going into real estate or, starting a nonprofit or climbing Kilimanjaro. I don't know. But it just gives off this impression that her life is like she doesn't appreciate her own life, what has come to be, and I'm not saying, we know the saying that Biggie said, more money, more problems, right? So just because your husband is this great basketball player, this all-time greatest shooting guard and all of those things, doesn't mean you're happy. That doesn't fulfill her, right? And we have to be honest about things like that, right? But when it looks like there's jealousy or that there's some type of spousal envy or that, there's this lack of respect in some ways that is given off when you make statements like that, we have to stop doing that. And there were some other things that I couldn't put them in at this time, but there were some things that also were said where it was a guy on social media, and pretty much he was echoing the sentiments of, it seems like she goes out of her way to find moments to embarrass or disrespect him. And said that she sounds like she has desires to be like somebody like Glorilla or something. Like, go put out an album, but whatever you do, stop disrespecting this man. For all intents and purposes, it looks like he's done everything he can to be a solid man and husband and individual to whatever his dynamic is. And nobody knows anybody personally. It's like seeing men post their kids on social media and then you flood their inboxes talking about their great fathers. You don't know if he beats these kids when he goes home. You don't know if that's the only time he actually saw the kids is when he posted the picture or the video. But we'll be so quick to show love to what it looks like. So I'm not even saying that Ayesha Curry is the best loved, the most well-kept woman in America or anything like that. But what I am saying is, regardless of what that is, if it's a real issue, speak about it. And if there's something that needs to be said or done within your relationship, it should be done in the sanctity of your own home. But it seems like, in some ways, that misery loves company. Now, to be respectful to Steph Curry, and if you ever see this video, I'm not bashing your wife. I'm not down talking you. It just comes off a certain way that if it was done respectfully, if it was done decently and in order, this wouldn't be a conversation. See, most of the people who have something to say on social media only look at 60-second clips, only look at 30-second clips. So they don't even have a wide scale of what's being said or what's really real about whatever that clip is, right? The long form portion of that snippet that's meant to get the attention, to make you dig more, to get emotion from you. But there are a lot of people who genuinely do care and have concern about what the dynamic actually looks like, what's really being said. Do I have to read between the lines here? Why is this the statement that was being made? And so when it comes to matters of Ayesha Curry, I would just hope and pray that this is something that you have at least talked about in your own household. And if not, be mindful of that. Because you give people like us content, and hopefully on this platform, you'll understand, anybody that has watched it or made it this far, understand that it's not about bashing. It's not about making women look a certain way. It's not about making men look like giants amongst grasshoppers or anything like that. We want to look at this for what it is and tell you the truth on what we think and what the opinion or the general consensus could be. So with that being said, speaking of misery loves company, speaking of groupies, let's move on to something that happened not that long ago, but in this world, as we go from hot topic to hot topic, from hype to hype, a situation between PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. I do have the video that we will watch and then we will discuss. There's a part of me that desires to break this down bit by bit, but I will let the video play, and once it gets done, we will reconvene and talk about what we see.
Okay, hold on, pause. This is what we're not doing. So every time that he does this, I'm gonna record this. Because that's not okay. I'm just letting you know. No, the thing is, this is the third time he's done it. This is the third time he's done it. He doesn't want to go with you. So actually show up and do something then with him. Because he does this every time. No, it's not. No, it's not. It ain't because everybody babysit. You gonna give him the bag and stuff?
That's terrible. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. No, it's not. Yeah, I will. But I'm telling you right now, every single time I come here, you need quiet, we're gonna record that. And it's up with me. Just know that it's up.
Get your bitch ass out my driveway, ho.
Hey, you don't pay for shit.
Fuck you. You don't.
Yeah. So using children to further an agenda that you have that is rooted in bitterness or jealousy or anger or hatred, I don't understand why that is still a thing in 2025. So there are parts of this that we didn't get to see from Brittany Renner. And let me just play it one more time. Can we just watch this one more time? Please go to the comments and let me know what it is that you saw wrong with this. And if you saw anything wrong, no problem. We don't got to talk about it. But I'm going to play this one more time because it's a bit entertaining.
Okay, hold on, pause. This is what we're not doing. So every time that he does this, I'm gonna record this. Because that's not okay. I'm just letting you know. No, the thing is, this is the third time he's done it. This is the third time he's done it. He doesn't want to go with you. So actually show up and do something then with him. Because he does this every time. No, it's not. No, it's not. It ain't because everybody babysitting. You gonna give him his bag and stuff?
That's terrible. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. No, it's not. Yeah, I will. But I'm telling you right now, every single time I come here, you need quiet, we're gonna record that. And it's up with me. Just know that it's up.
Get your bitch ass out my driveway, ho.
Hey, you don't pay for shit.
Fuck you. You don't.
We've all had an opportunity to get a good look at this video. This is why the statement on the title is Misery Loves Company, fellas. And listen, this I can't say this enough, but I'll say it one more time. This is not to bash women. This is not to bash co-parents. Because at the end of the day, there are a bunch of guys who don't do nothing for their children, point blank, period. And those guys aren't victims when they are asked for help or for extra finances, resources, time with the kids, a break for that mother that does not get the break that she deserves throughout the week, or a lifetime for that matter of a kid before they reach adulthood, right? But we're looking at a vastly different thing right here. The fact that it was already a foregone conclusion that this is what she wanted. The fact that her mom was already recording when the door was open, it wanted to be stated that their son cries when PJ Washington comes to pick up his son. Let's deal with the elephant in the room. PJ Washington just signed an extension, almost $100 million over 3 or 4 years. Brittany Renner, let's just give a little rundown of what this young lady has, what her career, if that's what you want to call it, has consisted of. She got pregnant by PJ Washington. She was a soccer athlete, pretty girl, athlete, but decided to take her talents to South Beach. You get pregnant by PJ Washington, and then you decide that that's not what you want to be in. So you go run up the bag on child support. And I think he was newly drafted into the NBA. It was hot topic because she made it be known that that was not where she desired to be. She wanted that money. So from there, Deion Sanders, Mr. Primetime, brings her to Jackson State to give a statement on, hey, you should look out for these type of women. Brittany is there like me. I'm the one you should look out for. These are the type of things that they do. These are the type of ways that you can get caught up. When I'm watching that, I said to myself, Deion, I love you to life. You're the spiritual father of this generation for us. Nobody's gonna listen. If you're a young kid, 20, 21, 22 years old, you got NIL money at your expense or disposal, you have new NFL money, new NBA money, you're gonna go get a Brittany Renner because you want something pretty on your arm, and you willing to throw money at it because some of those guys have never had those type of opportunities. They've never had those type of women. So trying to caution these young men, it's noble, admirable, to quote Bane from Dark Knight Rises, but a bit misguided. That doesn't, man, listen, these young men, some are going to get it and some aren't. It is the bell-shaped curve of life. But Brittany Renner took pride in standing before those young men and letting them know that this is the type of woman that I am. From that, the outfits got more scantily clad, more outrageous, and she's had no problem doing her press tours when it was profitable, when it was beneficial for her to talk about who she is and what she wants out of life and all of those things, or the money or whatever, you know, having that weird interaction with Charleston White all those years and then talking crazy to him about him like he was this super creep. Let's not forget the most recent antic prior to this. You had the hijab on, or the hijab. I'm not trying to disrespect the Muslim brothers. I don't know exactly how you say it. But you had your covering on. You were a Muslim now. You were changing your ways. And then you got linked up with Kevin Gates. And then I'm assuming that after he got tired of you standing on your toes, breathing through your nose, bending your knees and arching your back, now you have to deal with the results of, I have to make money like a regular person. I actually have to be talented at something besides showing TNA, being a pretty face, and causing controversy. This is reality. This ain't no knock. I'm not mad at nobody for being pretty. I'm not being mad at nobody for being attractive in any way. But some of these antics have to stop. And us as consumers, us as men, have to stop being so goofy, running to the comments, talking about what you want to do to them, DMing them, acting like you got all the money in the world to send to them, like you gonna be them, flew them out everywhere. That is super lame. It's still tricking even if you got it, my boy. And some have never had it and have had 20 Brittany Renners. And that's not to speak to belittling women or lifting up womanizing or anything of that nature. But some of you guys need a plan, and you need a personality. Because when you get that, you don't have to throw every red cent you have at some woman for a good time. But I digress. So let's get back to the video. So the mom, who should absolutely be ashamed of herself, was making a big deal about this. Doesn't make any sense. This is the third time. Do you know that they say that little girls cleave to their fathers, little boys cleave to their mothers? The girls love they desire the love, the strongness, the caring. It's nothing like being able to have a father love on its daughters. For a son, it could be a little more punch in the chest, rough housing, but for little girls, we cherish them. So for that to be a little boy, it is way more understandable for him to cry when his mom comes, when he's gonna have to be separated from his mom. Separation anxiety, whatever you want to call it, it's normal for kids. My two little girls, they never are happy at the same time when I show up. One gonna come running down the hill, the other one is gonna be somber and act like something wrong. And then the next time I see them, they're gonna do the opposite. One of them gonna be happy, the other one could care less. That's called being a child as well. So the fact that the mom and Brittany are trying to keep notes and tabs on the fact that this is his third time, I'm gonna record this, and what is a court gonna do about you recording? What is anybody gonna do about you recording how many times this kid cries, your son cries when he's about to leave his mom? If he loves his mom, he just loves his mom. This doesn't indicate that there's abuse or wrongdoing, mistreatment. So I just want to understand, what was the purpose or point in saying you're going to record every time that he comes and the kid isn't blooming with joy that he has to leave you to go with him? That's also what happens when you force a kid to have to figure out how to coexist within two households. I guarantee you, and I could be wrong about this, but I guarantee you that they are not devoid of love or activities over at PJ Washington's home. Who's to say that when he comes back, he's not at least a little melancholy about having to leave his dad? That's just a part of being a kid. Brittany, then, this is what that video didn't catch, but the another one I saw, I didn't hear all of this dialogue, right? So, and also, pardon the language on the video. I apologize for that. But there was a point in the video where Brittany was walking away from the car, and PJ says, "Suck my blank word." Right? And she said, "What'd you say?" And he repeated it. And she said, "Gladly. Gladly." There's also some angst in there. You know they say them baby mamas and baby daddies be screwing each other all the time. That's what I heard. I don't got no first count understandings of that. But that's what they say. That them baby mamas and baby daddies always be still screwing each other. Now, I doubt that that's the case here. But it's one of those things where you tell on yourself, and even your snarky or snide remark, your comeback. Now, and mind you, you can say, well, PJ the one that said it. His wife is in the car. I doubt that he's being open about it, and they're gonna meet up somewhere and have some. I just don't buy it. When PJ goes to the door, he's like confused almost, and then he's like, okay. I think he said, okay, like, you gonna record it, okay. So then she steady going. He's like, you gonna give me the bag? Like, at this point, I only care about getting this bag. This isn't, if you're gonna give me the bag, cool. If not, I can go buy some stuff. But what we're not gonna do is sit here and argue in the doorway of I'm assuming your mom's house, about a kid crying. It's just childish and it's juvenile. So the mom makes the statement, the popular, famous statement, as she starts talking very disrespectfully. It's funny how she was quiet and it doesn't make any sense and whatever. You kind of see where Brittany gets this from, if we're being honest. But she starts making these comments about and she speaks very disparagingly and disrespectfully of PJ Washington's wife. You give your hoe, you give her $170,000, and you give your son $11,000. Ma'am, you have no clue if he already has a college fund set up for this kid. You don't know. We don't know if he goes to private school already. I don't know. $11,000 for a 2 or 3 year old will last him for quite some time. You can go buy him you can go buy him all the Tonka trucks and pull up draws you want. He ain't that's just not a small lump sum of money for a toddler. And why are you counting their pockets, pray tell? That goes to show that the mentality and the psyche of people like that is not in the right place, because you care far too much about what I have and what I'm doing. Because what is he? First of all, what does a 2 or 3-year-old care about? What would they desire to spend $11,000 on? Somebody, anybody, hit the comments and tell me, what does a 5 or a 6-year-old? What could they spend $11,000 on? I beg to argue that there's not much that they could think of. Even the most lavish party, if done properly, would not come close to costing $11,000. And here's the reality. That kid has access to whatever PJ Washington has. Brittany Renner and her mom don't. And disrespecting his wife only shows me that there's a large level of jealousy that you have, that's not you in that position. But you chose to not be with that man. Reese, what we got? $11,000. A kid don't even require that much, to be honest, unless they're in a private school or something. Right. And in that instance, to your point, that would mean that the $11,000 is a recurring payment or charge that would need to be put in his account on a regular basis. Now, Brittany said that he doesn't want to go with you. Why are people proud about making statements like that? He don't even want to be with you. It's like, what do you get out of that? That's why you need to come do something with him. He's taking him now. Y'all split custody. See, you start telling on yourself that you want him around. You want him around you. You don't. It's not about your son. You feel away. But you can't go back and fix that. His wife is beautiful. They seem to be happy. She bought him that car, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what's hers is his, what's his is hers. I don't know what she does to make money. I don't know if it doesn't even matter. She bought him that car, if I can remember when my boy told me is correct. Don't try to bring me down to where you're at. Figure out a way to lift yourself up to where you desire to be. Just know it's up with me. It's up with me. Let me listen. Let me ask you this. If you listen to that dialogue, if you listen to that interaction, I'm not saying, because it's clear that there's animosity between them. But the reason for the animosity is what could be debated. Now, when relationships fail or people break up, marriages end, whatever, there's always remnants of something, because they say that a divorce is tougher than a physical death. Because now I still have to watch you go live and do your thing, and we've literally split our souls apart. So there's an understanding if that was the case. That wasn't the case. They haven't been together for a long while now. And I don't know what they were going back and forth. None of that stuff even matters. Here's the reality. You don't have any respect for him or his wife or them together calling her out her name. At that point, I'm not mad at the wife for saying, get away from my car before I do something to you. You're not going to continue to disrespect my husband. I appreciate a wife that's a stepper. You hear me? Step for me. You hear me? Step for me. Don't run. Don't call the police. Step for me. That's a little insider. But that's neither here nor there. But misery truly loves company. And what I'm wondering, for anybody that may view this someday, Is there anybody that is on the side of Brittany Renner that has an actual, true, I would say, argument, a reason why this would even be necessary? Anybody? And I'm not saying that it should be. Let's be very clear. I think that what she did and how she behaved is totally out of pocket. You are already introducing trauma to your child. So am I saying that PJ Washington was right for inviting her to suck whatever? No, I'm not saying that that's okay. But I do understand somebody being tired or fed up of certain nonsensical things. And if that's what they say, I'm not saying it's right, but that's how the cookie crumbles. I'ma get ghetto. I think you might run. I think that's what I heard you say. You'll yell or you'll run or something like that. That's what I thought I heard somebody say before. I'm not gonna run. I hope not. Anyway, so yes, final thoughts on Brittany Renner before we move on to the next topic. If anybody has anything to say, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments. But the last thing that I will say is, as a people, we absolutely have to do better. These type of situations should not happen. Period. And if it means that, because here's what happens. Our kids end up being exposed to things that they aren't ready for. When there's this great divide between us where we can't work together to make sure that this kid, not your pockets, not your future, not your attitude, not your ego, not your emotions, that if we don't learn how to keep those things in check, if we don't learn to put ourselves last and our kids first, and I'm talking about in making sure that they are healthy and making sure that they are happy and making sure that they get to enjoy their childhoods free of drama and trauma, your kids are going to feel the blunt of the things that you don't deal with in your life. Brittany, you have a lot of work to do, man. And PJ, I'm not saying that you're an angel. I just don't understand how somebody can look at this and not say, Brittany, you just got to eat it this time. You are wrong. And that's my 2 cents. Moving on. Now, if you look at the thumbnail, it does have a picture of Mariah the Scientist. Who is Mariah the Scientist? I'm not going to lie to you. Before the Young Thug situation, I had no earthly idea. I don't have any maligning for Mariah the Scientist. But I had to put her on there instead of putting Young Thug because it did have 2 women. And a title saying Pretty Privilege actually does not apply. And I don't want to come off as even remotely disrespectful to Young Thug. Even though he has, not even though, because what I'm about to say has nothing to do with being disrespectful. That interview with Big Bank is, it's top tier. It's top tier content. Whoop-de-doo, okay? But so what I can say is I have loads and immense amount of respect for Mariah the Scientist. Okay, here's the reality. When I was a kid, I went and visited my mom in jail quite a few times. I lost count of how many times we probably went to go see my mom. And I'm not saying that we went 40 times. I'm just saying I don't remember how many times, but we went a lot. And I was always happy to go see my mom, even though she was in jail, right? That's not an easy thing. You have to typically plan for it. There's travel involved. There's making sure you got IDs and all types of things that come along with going to go support somebody that you love or want to see that is in prison. So number one, the fact that she was pretty consistent with either having phone calls or going to go visit is something that is to be respected if that is a man that you truly love and believe in and want to be with. Regardless of what it is, there are a lot of people that are very clear about saying, if you go to prison, I ain't coming. If you go to prison, our relationship is over. So the fact that Mariah the Scientist was actually able to show up and be consistent, hey, listen, it is what it is. Men talk business with their spouses. Men talk business they do pillow talk. Thug, don't say you don't do pillow talk, because it's not true. It's a lie. That's the one thing I will say. Yes, you do. Okay? You're gonna go home. You're gonna get in the bed with your lady, and you're gonna say, "Man, that lame." You're going to do it. Now there are certain things that I do believe most men do keep to the chest. If it's like, "Hey, we don't discuss this. This don't leave the phone. This don't leave the table." Cool. But in general, if men are not gonna talk to anybody, they're gonna talk to their women about what is going on in their life on a day-to-day basis. So let's just get out of this whole, there's certain terms that I can't repeat on here, even though it's a late night show. I just won't say certain things. But there's a phrase, I'll say tender penis, right? And it deals with a man having emotions over a woman that he's either in a relationship with or that he's being intimate with on a regular basis. And it is meant to down talk a man who catches or has a certain level of emotion for that woman. That is the epitome of toxic masculinity, when men have to be robots, when they can't express that they have feelings or desires, or that they care about somebody talking to their woman, being with their woman, being intimate with their woman. What are we talking about? This culture of acting like we so pimp, we just pimps and just players, and it's lame. So that kind of still segues me into the one issue that not the only issue, but one of the issues that I have with watching the Young Thug and Big Bang interview. When we got to the end of the interview, and let's be clear, Young Thug was visibly and understandably perturbed and upset and hurt that people that he did life with and that he put in position to succeed turned on him. That's not a good feeling. You think Jesus was skipping down the road to Golgotha because even he knew he was going to be resurrected, and he was going to, what? No. Betrayal hurts. No matter who you are. I don't care if it's The Godfather. I don't care if it's Heat. I don't care what boss movie you think of. Nobody is excited or desiring to be betrayed. Now, the result is you can prepare for it. You can understand what may be necessary and how to deal with it. You can expect little of people and then deal with it as you need to. But the fact that Thug is still visibly hurt that he could have spent the rest of his life in prison, even though he said, if we go to prison for the rest of our lives, whoop-de-doo. That was kind of contradictory now that we think about it, right? Either you ain't tripping about going to prison for the rest of your life, or you upset because when dudes get behind them interrogation walls and offered snacks and food and lobster broils and all of that they tell. The reality is this. One of my closest partner in the world has been in law enforcement for a long time, and he said they all snitch. The women are actually more loyal. Hence, Mariah the Scientist. Standing on business. In a song that Thug just recently put out, he was apologizing to the people that he either believe he didn't show up for, or that he may have wronged by what they heard on those conversations with Mariah the Scientist. Or even there was a point where who was it? It was somebody that maybe was attached to Devin Haney. Maybe it was his ex-wife or his current wife or a girlfriend that actually came to visit him. And so he was apologizing for his wrongdoings or whatever. And so during the song, he started the verse by talking about how Mariah the Scientist stood by him and how she showed up, how she was taking the kids to school. So not only are you probably, if there's some money that you have to that degree to put on my books, or that you're actually regularly making phone calls, or you're actually showing up to visit me, but you are going a step further and you're looking out for my children. You're picking my kids up from school and taking them to school. That is no small feat for somebody that you're not married to and has no obligation to do for you. That is a woman that you want to invest in. That is a woman that you could trust. That is a woman that should get $170,000, Brittany Renner. I don't know what he even made mention of a ring. When you go through tough times, you're going to see how people feel about you. You're going to see the people that never leave. You're going to see the people who have encouraging words. And then you're also going to see the people who side eye you, the people who are waiting and praying for your downfall. And in this instance, I'm glad you figured it out. But like I said earlier, success leaves clues, my brother. There was something that Mariah was demonstrating long before you went to prison that showed that she probably was one of the ones that you needed to be down with. But in reality, a belief that me and my partner believe is that you got to see people in different seasons of life. I got to see you when you got money. I got to see you when you broke. I got to see you when somebody passed. I got to see you when a new baby is born. I got to see when you get laid off your job. I got to see when you sick. I got to see you when I'm sick. Like, you have to be able to compile a lot of data about who this person is before you decide to spend the rest of your life with them or have children with them. And we do things gravely backwards in this culture. My other issue, my continued issues that I found with this Young Thug interview is Big Bank asked him, man, I just heard about 5 songs and they fire. Right? Like, why you ain't putting that out? Like, the world need to hear this. I'm messed up, man. I ain't got my twin. First of all, there's too much of a premium on friendship in this regard. I'm not every man, every woman. You need community. You need friendship. All of those things. But to the point where you can't be yourself anymore, you're an artist. You're a record label owner. You're a CEO. You're a boss. You're still lamenting how hurt you are from these men doing wrong by you, that you can't live, you can't go on with your life. I have a problem with that. What he continually and repeatedly said in the instance of a Gunna, he said, I was with him every day for 10 years. My closest partner, we could go days without seeing each other. We can go weeks without seeing each other. Talk on the phone almost every day. But I don't see him every day. He got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. And I don't want to see you every day. I love you to life. Love you like my blood brother. I don't want to see you every day. So I don't understand this to have that much of an affinity for somebody, that becomes this chip on your shoulder and why you are so hurt. You should never see another man, another woman, more than you see your spouse or your children, ever. So foundationally, your very core was incredibly flawed, Young Thug. Because a woman that's gonna go make sure your kid's still straight while you're in prison shouldn't take the back burner to Gunna, Duke, nobody. Lil Woody, nobody. And we can't forget about these kids, mine, who are in the front room being incredibly loud. They lucky I love them, because I promise you I've already said something twice and I want to whoop them. And I don't whoop my kids, but I need you to be quiet. It's getting a little late. Go to sleep. Get on the couch, go to sleep. But yeah, I just foundationally have an issue with a lot of the mindset and why nobody ever addressed the fact that you are a grown man. You should absolutely understand how important it is to be with your kids. Now listen, now he takes his kids to school in a Rolls Royce. I'm not mad at you, brother. Give those kids experiences that they've never had before, even though you have always been their dad and had access and means and all of that, resources. But don't you ever prioritize, and don't think that getting back in relationship with these people, mending broken fences and all of this with men, even though you look at David and a Jonathan, you look at an Elijah and an Elisha. I get that. You look at Jesus and Peter, and John, his closest disciples. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a man that you do life with in a large capacity, because I do believe that we're not meant to do life alone. But what I am saying is, it is incredibly important that you prioritize what it is that matters most to you. And I'll just say your spouse and your children should always come before any man that walks the face of this earth. And don't ever get that mistaken again, young thug. You've been given a second chance and an opportunity at life. There are some people that believe there's no way that Young Thug is ever going to make good music again. I would love, personally, to see him prove everybody wrong. But that's just my little 2 cents. Once again, at the Late Night Shift Live, hype is overrated. On the contrary, we desire to keep it real. Really relevant, really player, and real live, kinfolk. Thoughts? Anybody got any thoughts? Because this is a really quick show. It's been a long day. I am very tired. I have a headache, and I'm ready to eat and lay down and put these kids out of their misery for a day. So, do we have any final comments before we shut this thing down? You feel me? For anybody that's been watching through, I appreciate you for my brain trust. That I done already made up my mind, kinfolk. For the people that, because this is a network, we have the Late Night Shift Live, we have the Mind of a Man podcast, we have You Gonna Get These Sports, we have Cultivating Conversations, and we have Church Flow. This is a network. And the people who support the network are part of the brain trust. That's just what that is. And so, I appreciate everybody that's in the brain trust. More importantly, Randy C. Mays, LaShonda Reese, and my boy Bruce Wayne Glass. Those are my 3 ride or dies that's going to check out the content, that's going to support, that's going to comment, that's going to like all of those good things. And if you another person on here that you've been consuming the content and showing love, it does not go unappreciated. Anytime people gonna like, anytime people gonna share or comment, it is always greatly welcome, as well as subscribing. So with that being said, I love y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. I hit an hour. I believe this is a very good show in my own opinion. We even had some videos to go along with it tonight. We just steady building. We slowly building, you feel me? I have an intro that I need to add to this as well. And so be looking out for the intro that I already had, but I'm finna go ahead and bring that joint back out because I had people give me, I would say, negative feedback, but I'm gonna just go with what I wanna do, kinfolk. And if y'all like it, cool. If you don't, keep watching and just shut your mouths. Anyway, as I end every show, I love you. May the Lord keep you, kinfolk. And we'll see you at the conference. Until next time, go with God. Peace.